All right, guys, we are going to be opening up the drawing studio today. It may take you a couple of extra days, like one other day, but I will say fourth and fifth grade have been getting done early or on time in one class period. So we're going to run through, we have 11 studios that we're going to be doing our mini challenges on. And I'm going to run through each one so you know exactly what to do when you get there. All right, Studio 1, Station 1 here, not studio, but center 1. You're going to be using crayons, which is an everyday kind of thing we have, but we're going to be creating value, and we're going to go from dark to light. And I do provide examples on the paper when it's possible. Okay, I'm going to just demonstrate each one as we go through kind of quickly. So you want to start out by, I'm going to try to do this without getting my hand in the way. Start out by going hard, pressing hard. And as you kind of get going, medium pressure, lighten up a little bit. Then lighten even further. Try not to make it tapered into a point. Try to keep it wide all the way through. Okay. There you go. And we're going to move on to center station 2 here. We have oil pastels. Here you're going to be using the color wheel to choose 2 colors that are near each other on the color wheel, whether it's blue, purple. You can go a little bit wider, red and yellow, red and blue, because we know that's going to make purple. I personally like the greens and the yellows together, but you just want to play around with colors that are near each other. You want to avoid going directly across, because that's going to give you not so pretty color. If you can, you should have time to do 2 different sets. I also have toothpicks here, which I'm going to show you what we can use with that here soon. So I'm going to start with purple. Just do a little section, a little sample. And I'm going to do red over. You really want to find a true red. Some kids are finding red-orange, and that's not going to look very good. You just go right on top. And it kind of gives it kind of almost like a hot pink color. All right, and I like to do, like I said, yellow. It's my personal favorite. With the lime green over top. And because it is so thick, you can take the toothpick here and you can draw whatever you want. Lines, designs, your name. Practice writing. And it just scratches through to the color underneath. Okay. All right, we're going to go to 3. Okay, again, another familiar tool is a Sharpie. You can pick. Some kids want to use two colors together. That's totally fine. This is the beginning, again, of value. But we're going to actually use a technique called cross-hatching to create that value. So instead of just the pressure of the crayon, we're going to be cross-hatching. And you really don't want to think about it too much. You just want to, try to get my hand out of the way. You just want to quickly draw these lines. And then they're going to cross, hence why it's called cross-hatching, over each other and even diagonally. And where you put more lines, that's where it's going to be a darker value. So you can see, here it's a little bit darker, down here it's a little bit lighter. For those that want to, you can use a second color, but typically when you're working with value, you're kind of working with one color, a range of one color. All right, we're going to go to 4. And over here in 4, this is where we're going to actually apply the cross-hatching to create value. So you have a mini little version here. This is what you want to recreate, and I have a larger version here for a sample so you understand what to do. Creating a sphere that is 3-dimensional, and the 3-dimensional comes because of the value. It is darker on the bottom, so I'm going to do little tiny lines. That's the cross-hatching. And I'm going to make it darker along the bottom half. And then just slight lines going up around the edge. Then don't forget to do a shadow underneath. Again, you can use just lines It could be even straight like that, but since we were talking about cross hatching, you want to crisscross it over. You can see that. And this was just my larger sample example here. Okay, we're going to follow up to number 5. Number 5, some kids were confused by this, so I added small sample, and then the smaller kids were even more confused. So I did a larger example of what we're trying to do. We're using color sticks, which are color pencils without the wood on them. And it is a small space here, number 5, but you're going to try to use the wide end of the color pencil stick, okay? You just want to push it across the paper, and it's going to be softer. So it's wide but softer. You can choose another color. And then you can do some hard edges. So think about different lines that you can do to make it hard. Obviously these are good when you're doing the thick side. If you had to cover a large area, you could do it pretty quickly, like going side to side to fill that in. All right, going to number 6 here, which is just going to be with regular pencils. And I created a little example here, but then I also did take down a poster. I haven't moved it over here yet, but a large list of different types of lines. You're going to be drawing a quick sketch of a person, just their head, maybe their shoulders. I gave you some examples here on your paper as well of different types of lines. I want you to really think about not just style of lines like zigzag or scalloped or spirals, but also the use of thick and thin lines. You can see here. So you could have a kind of a thick outline if you wanted for the head, or even like the shoulders. Try to get this in the camera view. Okay. You know, the hairstyle is a great place to get different styles going, different types of lines. I added thick lines over the eyelashes on the shoulder here, almost like as a shadow, kind of a value here. And then you can get into different hair styles with different types of lines. And so thick, thin, short broken lines, longer, you know, they can be wavy lines. It's not going to be a realistic person. It's just a quick use of lines. All right, we can go to 7. Heading over here. So we have 11 total little centers. These you have used before. Texture rubs, I did use metallic glitter kind of marker crayons here. So actually you're going to be flipping over for this one. So you're going to put your texture rub under the paper. I would pick 2 colors. I found that it does show a lot more dimension if you're doing 2. So this yellow doesn't always show up as well. Okay, then if you then highlight it with a little bit darker color, even though it's a green, I'm doing a blue here, does make it pop out a little bit more. Some kids did 3 colors and it did pretty good. You don't want to get too crazy, then you get mixed kind of odd colors. But I would try the 2. It does help kind of create like a shadow value area. Okay, moving down here to number 8. Dealing with chalk pastels. Sorry about that. Chalk pastels, a lot like number 2. So if you're using chalk instead of oil pastels. We have the color wheel here. You're going to pick 2 colors near each other on the color wheel. You know, if you're blending blue and yellow, you're going to get greens. So I'm going to try, might just try that so you can see. But I'm actually going to take a aqua color to start. And again, you could do 2 sets of colors. You should have room there. And I'm going to do, actually I'm going to do yellow. I don't know if I got a yellow. Yeah. Yellow. And it may, you know, it's kind of a creamy yellow versus a bright yellow. You may not exactly get what you want there. So, or you can even take this aqua color again and mix it maybe more with a regular blue. So it's just about experimenting today. And also, what can you do with these tools, different mediums that maybe you haven't thought about before. And because you are blending with your fingers, we have wipes in here that you just use to wipe your hands because we do not have time to stop and go wash our hands before we move on to the next studio or studios. Okay. Also with this, I was going to add that you, just like the number 5, the color sticks, you can go over top with a hard edge to, so it's not all about making it nice, soft, and fluffy, but you can actually still get a hard edge out of the chalk. All right, we're going to go down here to number 9. Again, it's another value, but it's a different way to do value. So instead of cross-hatching, we're going to be doing a technique called stippling. And you can kind of see the example here. It's actually made up of dots. And here's the example at the table. So if you wanted it to be a very dark area, you're going to have a lot more dots in one area and then less concentrated down here to give you the range, dark to light. So it's up to you. Does not mean you have to pick a dark color to achieve that. You're just going to be creating that darkness through the amount of dots that you're using. So draw that sphere, and then I have more dots going along this side. It's darker there, so I need to add more dots. I know a lot of kids want to change colors. I would do that after the fact, after you get the basic amount of dots down. Make sure you get right near the edge as well. Okay, and then it is scattered. It's almost like there's another circle here that's just pure white. So you can have a few kind of scattered out, almost to make that circle open area. Okay, that's just an example there. Again, I can make it a little bit more concentrated in certain areas. Fill it in, and it's real dark around the edge. Almost to the point where you're not going to see the dots. Oops, sorry. Much better, solid at the bottom. You can add the shadow if you want to. I know this one does not have the shadow. All right, so number 10 is kind of off by itself here. I'm going to go over by the windows. And we're going to turn our camera around. So number 10 deals with texture. Texture is the way something looks like it's going to feel. Okay, we're going to be using colored pencils for this. I gave you 2 prompts of what I would like you to create. First one over on this side being bumpy, and then over here, hairy. Yes, that isn't hairy apple, but it has the best kind of lines I could find as an example online. So, bumpy, the color obviously won't matter unless you have something actually in mind that you want to portray an example of. So for bumpy, I tend to always think of arched kind of lines. That's not the end all to be all. It's not the correct answer. It's just one method. So maybe you can also use lines to show a couple of different examples. I was thinking of like ovals. So you don't have to use just lines, but also shapes to create a texture. Because, lines do create shapes. So that could be my 2 examples of, bumpy. And then hairy, I was thinking of almost like a golden retriever dog, hairy dog. They don't have to be straight lines, but they might look kind of like they're fuzzy, kind of going everywhere. And they might be real hard at the beginning and then lighting up at the ends. Different pressures. Okay, and then I'm going to fill it in with other colors. And I do think color can help add that realistic texture that we're also trying to achieve, especially in the hair case. So you can think about what else is hairy. People, some flowers even can have like hair on the leaves. Kiwi fruit is hairy. Okay, so just giving that illusion of hair. All right, number 11 is actually across the room. So you're going to travel a little bit. make our way